Yo, welcome back to another episode of changing the Apex maps to make them a little bit more competitively viable. In this series, we've made suggestions to every map so far besides World's Edge. So guess which one we're covering? World's Edge! The last episode of the series, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. It made me think a lot about most of the maps, because there was a few maps that I already had changes in mind. Dawn Point, Olympus, but some of the maps like World's Edge, I hadn't even thought about. Oh, what would I change? So it, there was a few difficulties there, but I made some thoughts, processes, however you want to say it. I processed it in my mind and made some suggestions that I would make. And to be honest, most of it is just I would move POIs a bit further away. If that makes sense. So we'll get onto that when we get actually into the video. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed the series. If you have any suggestions for any of the maps, go make those suggestions on those videos, like in the comment sections of them, because who knows, a dev might see them and might make a change, because I am posting these in the Creator Hub, as I've said in previous episodes, and the devs can see those. So who knows? They might watch my video. They might see your comment. I couldn't tell you yes, they definitely will, or no, they definitely won't. So who knows? All right. But without further ado, let's get into the episode. Again, we're going to be covering World's Edge, the longest running Apex competitive map. It was added in season 3. At the time of recording this, we are now in season 27, split 2 of Ranked, and we're about to get, when I recorded this, we're about to get the patch on the 6th of January 2026. So hope you guys have enjoyed the series, like I said, and without further ado, let's get into what I would change. Is again very little about World's Edge. I'll see you in there. Alrighty then, as you can see, we are landing in Thermal, and actually this is a pretty good spot for us to begin the video, because my suggestion that I have for this area of the map is very simple, and it's move this whole compound closer to Thermal itself. Put it where the balloon is, and then move the balloon like further this way, like put the balloon in between that area, if that makes sense. Make this area here that I'm like stood in now a bit more playable. It won't change too much about the design of the fights or what have you. You could argue that it might make it a bit more easier to shoot down from, the no-name up there. But who knows, and this platform here. But you could also potentially do something with the map where, like, this section, let me use my mouse so it's a little bit easier for you guys to see. This section of the map is more curved around, and therefore, because this is no longer here, it's here, right? It's a bit more curved around, and then this part of the map could maybe fill in here, and this, I don't know what they would do. I don't know with regards to a lore aspect of that. I don't know. They could say that using the lava they created new ground. I don't know, but basically you could extend this platform, this no-name area here. You know what? We'll fly over there because we're basically done here. Like, you guys know what I've said, which is this. Basically, go here, right? So if they were to change it over here as well, make it so that this is a bit further out and you can move the buildings a little bit further over. Okay. So without further ado, that is our thermal suggestion done and out of the way. As I said in the intro, most of the stuff that I'm going to suggest is just moving stuff. Make it a little bit better in my opinion. But without further ado, we're going to head on over to launch site, and then I'll see you when we're over there. All right, so here we are at launch site. More specifically, the back side of launch site, right? As you can see. What I would personally do with launch site is actually move it further this way. So that it was more in this area at the back here. Because I feel like that building here needs to be moved further where I am now. That makes sense. To make it a bit harder for things to escalate between launch site and dome, and sometimes in the past in competitive, teams have claimed both launch site and dome. This area in between them, I feel like could use a bit more of these like blue crates.
Let's check that quadrant.
As playable space. Like even if you make it so that these blue crates are up against rock. So let's say if there was a blue crate here, for example, like this space here would be a bit more playable if a zone was pulling that way. You know what I mean? As well as this space here would be a bit more playable if zone was pulling that way.
We should maneuver to that area.
This rock would get in the way, this smaller rock, make it a bit harder. You'd have to, you know, be very wary of the angle from here. But if we obviously move that further back, then it would be harder for you to play here because of the door. Because the door would now be like in this general direction.
Straight up their tailpipe.
So again, most of my suggestions for World's Edge are just going to be move POIs back. Launch site, again, I personally think it needs to be moved a bit further back here. Same with this choke, can be like moved a bit further behind this building. So if a team is playing the building, they can hold you out of the choke. But also, if they're not playing that building, you can basically have a free walk up if there's a zone in tree. Dome isn't on my list, but I would also slightly move it back to like this general like area. It's hard to do on controller. So like this edge here would be like where the dome is now, so it would be like that. That makes sense. Just to make it a bit harder for stacks and launch site to do anything to dome. I'd also move this balloon based on the fact that you've moved launch site. I would move balloon closer to dome. So if the dome team wants to get aggressive on launch site, because obviously they have more space to play, they can. But also if they don't want to get more aggressive and they just want to, you know, loot quick, because dome is a very quick POI to loot considering it's on the edge. It has loot quality that is akin to a lot of zone POIs. It would be nice for that balloon to be like here, and if they wanted to get aggressive because they believe they're better, they could just push the launch site team. But if they're not wanting to get aggressive, they could use the balloon and just go. But launch site still has the opportunity to shoot them off of it. Same with stacks. But where it is right now, you're almost guaranteed that launch site are just going to sit here and wait for you to come and shoot you off of it. So it's a bit of a, oh, I'm not going to do that. Do you know what I mean? And getting out of dome is very hard because everybody around you is better looted than you. And yeah, it's a difficult task. We don't have any suggestions for stacks, but based on if dome was moved a little bit further back, I would also move stacks a little bit like it over this way, so that this building here would be like here. That makes sense. So it won't move far. But again, most of the suggestions for World's Edge, because of the fact that it is so like good, and again is the longest running competitive map. Most of my suggestions are just going to be move POIs, if that makes sense, or move chokes. So without further ado, let's get on to the next part of the map, which is actually going to be around the geyser area, but it's not geyser itself. So I'll see you when we're over there. Okay, firstly, nitpicky prep here, but I feel like this flower tree, whatever you want to call it, isn't needed there. And I honestly feel like if it wasn't there from the geyser, you'd be able to fly up here. And I feel like that should be a thing, because even if a team is playing up here, they're going to be able to see you come in or hear you come in, right? So that in and of itself is a nitpicky thing. Geyser itself, loot disparity compared to Maud is insane. And sometimes teams from Geyser used to pick the no name as well, but when Monument got changed from Frag East, right, is it Frag East? No, Frag West. Yeah, because that's Frag East. I'm tired, okay? Recording this early morning. So cardinal directions is not something I'm thinking about right now. What I would change is actually this choke here. I feel like these two chokes are too close together, and we see it a lot in competitive, not just at the CC level, but at the pro level, where there'll be two teams playing in these chokes, and typically in the pro level, these two teams will like take a few pot shots at each other, realize that if they try and fight, they're just basically throwing each other's games. And therefore mutually agree without obviously talking to one another, but like essentially just agree to coexist. So, but then the moment one of the two teams gets pushed, the other one just apes the fight and third parties it, because they're just that close together. In the CC level, it's seen less that teams will be playing in both chokes. It's usually just playing in one. And if the other one gets taken, then they'll just ape, because it's CC and everybody has an ego for no reason. But that's a personal gripe. Personally, I would put this choke not too far. I'd just move it a little bit further over, so it's here, so that there was a bit more space between the the two chokes. And then the same thing with the Harvester choke over here. I feel like this house here provides enough of a cover that if you put that choke over there to where it starts like here, right, and then goes up to where basically where the shotgun arsenal is, this house provides enough cover to where it wouldn't affect it too much. Let's grab this Evo real quick. Whereas on this side of the Harvester choke, to this like north, like this is often referred to as north siphon. Yeah, on this side, you are like just getting out of the choke now, and guess what? I'm in the other choke now, like already. You know what I mean? It's really quick, and there's very little cover for the team that is coming like from here into Harvester. If that makes sense. So can be quite a difficult task. So what I'm suggesting is basically put this path here, this like green and brown, like brownish black area. Literally just put it on the other side. Just put it here. If that makes sense. You can even keep it at this like height. Put a ramp up onto this. And then put it all the way through. Right? All the way through. And then, oh, okay, we're gonna take some burn damage. Oh, we don't have enough jets left to do that. And then you just bring it out here. It provides a little bit more of a high ground position to look at it. You can keep that bridge there because people from that side here will still need to be able to cross.
Keeping
yeah.
shields this low is asking for trouble.
Okay.
Charging up my shields.
Falk, let's just heal your shield since you have that much of a problem with it. And then also, like, holding the choke can be done with these rocks. And it would make people playing in this area think, or even on the tracks, think a bit more about how they're going to contend with that choke. Do you know what I mean? Not much of a difference, but again, that's... This area here is the kill box of the map. It's why they started putting things like Jurassic or Forbidden Zone on Storm Point, because this area here is just basically a kill box. And yeah, so it makes it a bit more... It would still be a kill box, but I feel like it would be less likely to cause any issues because, again, it's not as close to this choke, and Harvester probably has more agency to use this path because it's closer to them. If that makes sense. And Harvester is a zone POI typically. All right, next thing on the agenda is honestly Monument, Fragment, Epicenter. Like a big on my map for my notes. I literally just have a big like outline on these POIs. And it's basically because since Monument was added, it has a massive loot disparity over the POIs around it. Fragment is, you know, way more difficult to play than Monument when it comes to loot. And way easier to grab two guns and just run at Monument in case they're not paying attention. Right? Epicenter, you would think, oh, right, well, Epicenter can grab two guns and run at Monument because they have high ground, right? Oh, okay. The cliff's over there. Well, the issue with that is Epicenter's loot is also just bad. So we'll get on to a bit more of why people typically don't like playing from Epicenter, and when they pick Epicenter, they're trying to hope and pray that nobody gets survey in a moment. But yeah, I feel like Fragment also needs this Monument treatment where it gets like spruced up, if you will. I feel like if you've played controller characters, this, like, the ring console is usually up here. It's quite a difficult one to get and hit, which I guess, you know, oh well, fair enough. It means that you have to play like a Bangalore or Newcastle to sort of like give you cover. Or even if you're playing Rampart, you know, you can put your wall down and then hit it. But you'll notice that I'm playing a recon and there's no UAV beacon in Monument. And that's just a fact. Like, there isn't one. Right? And the only one that they have access to is Fragment.
Survey beacon out there.
Whilst Fragment can hit that, but also go and hit the no-name one. I feel like, and the opposite is true for Fragment, by the way. It doesn't have a ring console, if you didn't know that. So, wait for the ball to go past. So with, I don't know where they would put it. Maybe move the console over to here.
Supply bin here if you need it.
You know, just put it on the end in between the two bins.
Let's scope this quadrant out here.
Right? Or you can, if you want to make it a bit more risky, you can move the bins so they're like across here. Put the ring console here. And then you can put the UAV scan over here.
Scan this area.
And then on fragment, I would relocate the UAV. In fact, no, I would leave the UAV where it is.
Wings out.
And then put the console. Actually, I don't know where I'd put the console in fragment. But there needs, in my opinion, there needs to be a console in and a UAV in every map. If that makes sense. In every POI, should I say. And I'm not considering the no-name a POI. There isn't a dropship for it, right? If anything was to change about the no-name, I'd move it a little bit closer to fragment. Or move fragment's dropship a bit further over here. So it's a bit more of like likely that two will loot here and then one will go over here to loot on their loot path. So yeah, without further ado, that is basically my thing with Monument. Is it has a loot disparity and in comparison to the POIs around it, and then also it has a console spawn but doesn't have a beacon spawn, and then fragment is the opposite. It has a beacon spawn but not a fragment, not a console spawn. And in my opinion, again, these two being so close together, yes, okay, maybe don't give them both console and beacon if that's what they want to do, and they want to keep them split so that one has console, one has beacon. In that case, then this, in my opinion, should be one dropship, if that makes sense. And you might argue, oh, well, that restricts the amount of POIs in the game. And it does. So that's why my suggestion was to add console and beacon to each POI that doesn't get them at the moment. So without further ado, let's move on to the next area, which is going to be the far north, and I'll see you when we are over there. Alrighty then, we are in the far north now. We are in Climatizer. So what I have on my suggestion list is another like relocation of a POI. I think Climatizer should have been moved. Should be moved further back. Basically, that zip almost never gets used. Realistically, right? I think we move the POIs back so that this building basically is right there. And then these two buildings here are like right on the end of this compound.
Let's check that quadrant.
That makes sense. And then also this compound here would be basically right up against the rock, and this compound here would be like right on the edge. That makes sense. This suggestion came about because you are so much lower than the teams, if the zone's pulling this way, than teams that are playing here and on the bridge, and it can be difficult to, you know, hold them off, if you will. And I feel like if this area here was a bit more open because the POIs moved back, you could put some more of these smaller like buildings down here as well, and make the space a bit more playable. Kind of like what you have on that side. And then you could add another building there as well. I would put the balloon here as well,
Use that jump tower.
a bit closer to this brook here. Maybe the other side of it though,
Over there.
just because then it's a bit more of a, actually, thinking of that, it'd be a bit more of a, oh, I can just fly into Overlook thing. So maybe with the POI moving back, put it closer to these buildings so it's further away from Overlook. And then also in the far north, and I'm just going to keep you here for the travel over there, survey camp. Now I said I would say why, like, with Epicenter being so bad, why teams who pick it would you, in like Pro ALGS, where they get to pick their drop ships, or drop spots, should I say. They typically, if a team picks Epicenter, they're typically hoping that nobody takes survey, so that they can loot both, right? Because Epicenter's drop ship is right here, if I remember correctly. So it's pretty easy to fly over here. Or a team might take survey, because then a team is less likely to take Epi over survey. And that way, if a team does take Epi, they can just try and fight Skyhook East for the cave, or just, like, you know, go for the cave, and if the Skyhook East team doesn't go for it, then they should. Makes sense. My suggestion, this zip line here is also barely ever used, and besides certain rotations, neither is the back entrance to the cave or the res beacon. So what I'm suggesting is that survey camp get moved back so that it is basically in this area here, if that makes sense. And then also you could either remove the res beacon, or you could put it on the, like, the middle, and then put a couple, you know, put a building or something around it similar to what's over here. If that makes sense. And some pills and stuff to make extra loot for survey camp or Epicenter. On that front, Epicenter needs more lootable bins on this side here, like all over here. If that makes sense. So, without further ado, again, I said this in the beginning of the video, most of my stuff for World's Edge is going to be moving things. Skyhook is split into 2 POIs in ALGS, but it's Sky West and Trials, and then Sky East. But we'll go over and cover Trials real quick. So see you when we get over there. I'm just going to take this. It won't be too long. Alrighty then, we're in our final area, and basically it's just the fact that there is a lot of dead space here at the back of Trials. Obviously you have the end game that Falcons won at the ALGS Open, that was over here, and this area here, like more specifically here, said more specifically, let's say, I tripped a little bit over the of saying that word, was used, but you know, the map goes like way out here. Like, I don't think I've ever seen anybody playing this back area here. And why would you want to? Unless you're playing a Valk and you know the zone is pulling here, where you would, you know, play your angles. Let me cancel that real quick. Play your angles so that if a team's playing over here, can't shoot you. Let's say you were the Skyhook team and Sky East pushed you because they hit your ring console, because the ring console is here. That's another thing. Skyhook East needs a ring console, in my opinion. There's a pretty good spot for it, like at the bottom of the ramp here, that would work. Especially since this side of the map is also, this side of the POI is also considered a zone POI, whilst this side is considered an edge POI. So, preferably, another new console, if you will. But yeah, this area here, unless for whatever reason you're playing back here, what I was gonna say was, let's say you were Skyhook, one of the Skyhook teams, and you ended up over here because the team pushed you back and you rezzed or whatever. But whatever reason you're over here, let's just say you're playing Valk and you play your angles, you make it so that you can fly, and then you would, you know, take off and fly, right? But this whole area is like dead space. And then the same with this building and area back here. Yes, it's part of Fissure, like Lava Fissure, but Lava Fissure often will just leave this out. Not so much in ranked, because, you know, they're like, oh well, a team's doing trials, let's run up here, loot this quick, and then just dip up on trials. But I feel like it needs to be a little bit closer to Fissure itself, or another ALG, like another dropship change, so that it is a bit more like over here. It's a bit more doable to land there. I can't remember where the dropship is on Fissure. I want to say, excuse me, I want to say it's like here, but I could be wrong. It could be like directly above.
We should cruise over there.
That is the end of the video right there. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video and the series. This is the final one in the series. As a reminder, we've covered all 6 maps now. If any of the maps get changed, I will try and do an update video as to if there would be any changes to what changed I would make, or if any of the suggestions I made, you know, get added, then I'd obviously put that in the video as well. Be like, oh look, see, I made this suggestion and it worked. But or if you guys make suggestions in the comments and they also end up getting changed, then I'll bring the comment up in the screen and be like, hey look, little Timmy made this comment about a change that they would like to see in this map, and it got changed. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode and the series, and we'll see you. Well, we won't see you on the next one because there isn't another one. If I do any update ones, we'll see you in those. As it stands right now, end of the series, and yeah, remember to like and subscribe if you feel like you would like to come see more content from me. And if you've enjoyed the video, leave that like. And I've said it already, but say it again. If you have any suggestions of your own, leave a comment in the comment section below. And who knows when I'll see you next on a video like this, but those of you who do decide to stick around for other content from me, we'll see you on the next one.